All right, with that, we will call this meeting to order. August 19th, 6 p.m., the Selma City Council regular meeting. We're going to have our invocation led by Deacon Ed Harmon tonight.
I chose a unique invocation for you this evening. It's the invocation that was used at every council meeting of Vatican Council. And I thought it was very appropriate because they were deliberating the life of the church, the Roman Catholic Church, and many other Christian churches, and you're deliberating the life of the Selma community, so I thought it fit. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen.
Amen.
We stand before you, Holy Spirit, conscious of our sinfulness. Be aware that we gather in your name. Come to us, remain with us, and enlighten our hearts. Give us light and strength to know the will, to make it our own, your will, and to live in it in our lives. Guide us by your wisdom, support us by your power, for you are God, sharing the glory of Father and Son. You desire justice for all. Enable us to uphold the rights of others. Do not allow us to be misled by ignorance or corrupted by fear or favor. Unite us to yourself in the bond of love and keep us faithful to all that is true. As we gather in your name, may we temper justice with love so that all our decisions may be pleasing to you and earn the reward promised to God, to the good and faithful servants. Lord, may everything we do begin with your inspiration and continue with your help, so that all our prayers and works may begin in you. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
And may Almighty God descend upon you with his blessing in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Thank you, Deacon.
Amen.
Appreciate it. Amen.
Let's get ready for the flag. Ready? Begin.
All right, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Avalos,
Here.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Franco,
Here.
Mayor Robertson.
Here.
And let the record show Councilmember Guerra is absent.
Potential conflicts of interest. Now is the time for any council member to announce any potential conflict of interest, recuse themselves from discussing and or voting on the matter. Oral communications. Now is the time for any citizen to come up and address the city council on any issue within its jurisdiction, but not on the agenda. No item will be discussed or action will be taken on any item on the brought up during oral communications. Items of interest will be referred to the city manager for further review. Speakers are asked to keep their comments to 3 minutes. Does anyone have anything they'd like to address the council on tonight?
Good evening, Mayor and all council members. My name is Nick Sahota, 2511 Logan Street here in Selma. I own a small business, Central Valley Engineering and Surveying. I just want to bring attention to all the city council members and everyone. I'm just here to express my concern to what is happening in the city. I opened my business here in 2008. City of Selma used to process development quickly. In the past few years, I have multiple projects that are not being processed efficiently and effectively, which has been dragging tremendously and which is affecting the business and delaying the client's development. Within the last few years, 4 city planners and numerous city managers has been replaced, and no development has been processing my projects. I'm getting tired of keep repeating myself each time about my projects, and I need to know what I'm doing it wrong and what procedure I need to follow. The previous planner, Brian Hemby, started my projects, and now the city couldn't find those files. I couldn't do anything with the project. I'm really frustrated, and how the works with the planner here at the city. Thank you.
Thank you. City manager, have you met with Mr. Sahota regarding these issues, or are you planning on meeting? Mr. Sahota?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Certainly, we can go ahead and meet about that.
Please do. Please keep us posted on developments. Thank you for coming to council tonight. Does anyone else have any item they'd like to raise for oral communications?
I always do. Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. Mark Armenta, Unit Director for the Boys and Girls Club. Today I sent Raina an electrical invitation to our Stepping Out for Kids Gala, which benefits all the Boys and Girls Club of Fresno County. Reason why I'm inviting each and every one of you is because I will be speaking at that event. As you all know, I won Unit Director of the Year, and I was voted by my peers to win that award. So it's September 13th at Pardini's. I believe it starts at 5:30. Once again, Arena sent that out to you today. Just hoping, I know it's a short notice. If you can make it out, it'd be great. Like I said, I'm very proud that I won the Unit Director of the Year award. And not only that, I get to speak in front of everybody else that'll be at this event representing the City of Selma. So trying to hold back tears at night, yeah, it'll be rough. Because I am very proud of my kids, and I am very proud of what we do over in the Salazar Center within the 3 years. So if you can take a look at it, if not, I'll send it back to Raina tomorrow. But she did confirm that she forwarded off to everybody. Once again, it's September 13th. It's going to be at Pardini's. I believe the cost for the event, I want to say, is $150 a ticket or $175 a ticket. If you wish to attend, like I said, I will be there representing your Selma Boys and Girls Club.
Will any of the is this a fundraiser, Mark?
It is a fundraiser, but it's not just for my club, it's for all Boys and Girls Club of Fresno County. So there is now, I want to say 15, we're down about 15 to 13 clubs. Some clubs have closed, some clubs have gone back over to city parks in Fresno. But like I said, that's mainly, I'm just here just to
The public's invited?
Public is invited, yes. Public is invited. Public is more than welcome to come out to the event. I have to actually get dressed up and, can't wear my shorts and my Boys and Girls Club t-shirt. But yeah, it just, like I said, I just wanted to come by and really invite you guys to that event.
Thanks for letting us know.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Would anyone else like to come up?
Good evening, City Council. My name is Mary Chapa. I'm a grandmother, and I have 8 grandchildren. And the reason I'm here is because I like to voice my concern on what I've seen. I seen this one day in the evening, and my daughter passed a couple of years back, and the only thing I could think of during the night was my children. What are my grandchildren going to do if they do not have money to pay for the lunch? So that is my concern. What can the city do so that nobody would have to go through this? If you don't have no money, you can have lunch. And another question is that, does the city meet with the school council? And I would like to know if I can attend those meetings so that I can bring the issue. Because this is very, very sad. What really bothers me is that it says, thank you, child nutrition. What happens if the child didn't eat that day? What's going to happen? He's going to be embarrassed because he was turned down because he didn't have money to pay. My grandson, which is 14, he just started high school, and he says, Grandma, my friend in line didn't have no money. It could have been my other 2 grandkids that their mother passed 2 years ago. My answer to my grandson was, baby, you could have given him some money. I did, Grandma. you know? And that's my concern. Thank you.
Thank you for coming out. City Manager, are there any plans for the school board?
Yeah, I was gonna
to
ask
have
you
a
that question.
meeting? We've
Good.
been talking
Yeah,
about this
because,
a while.
Yeah, we better,
1057 Mill Street,
Before-
Gallardo Robertson.
Rose, just one second.
oh.
May I just ask the question? Are there any plans for meeting, anything in the offing? Have you heard anything back from
Yeah,
the school district?
Dr. Fisher did let her board know of our request and the council's request, and she will be attending our meetings here periodically to report back to them. Is that, City Clerk, did I have that correct?
But that doesn't
That-
mean that
yeah.
you've set up a meeting with the school board members and the city council members. There was no interest shown on the part of the school board for that,
Her board did direct her to have her come to these meetings.
and not them individually.
Correct.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay.
really,
I just want to put on record quickly. I've had a couple people reach out to us, and we are city council, and people might say this is not the appropriate place for this citizen to come to city council and express her concerns about these children not being fed at the Unified School District and some of these elementaries or high school. However, what we try to explain, I had some people reach out to me at our Catholic Mass after Mass, and I think a lot of people do trust in us to come to us and express themselves without needing to express their names. But I think it's time that the Unified School District School Board, whether it's, they don't need to violate the Brown Act, whether it's just two of them and two of you, City Council, and meet together on these kind of situations. And you might assume that maybe the nutrition element might not be the City Council's problem. However, you can probably recommend other options like the Selma Healthcare District to help some of these people. But if you guys are not getting together to speak about it, I think at the end of the day, it's not about those 5 individual school board members, and it's not about the 5 of you school board members, city council members. It's about our city of Selma and coming together. There's a lot of issues. I had 2 other people come that were concerned, citizens, about the drop-off at Roosevelt. With that's a nightmare. Whoever came up with that idea, and that there's lines all the way out to Floral and McCall, and it's like 45 minutes just to get on to the front of the Roosevelt Elementary School. So that has to do with the city. That's the Unified School District. That's the citizens of Selma's who are concerned about. If I'm correct on record, and maybe I will be attending the next Selma Unified School District Board meeting, and it won't be on the agenda, but I can ask these questions for the citizens that do choose not to come out and speak for whatever their reasons are, whether they work for the school or if they work for the city or wherever it is that they work, and they choose not to put their name out there, but I told them I'd do it for them. So I think with that said, I think it's time that you guys get together, and even if it's a town hall meeting, if you don't like getting yelled at, if the school board doesn't like getting yelled at, then you guys shouldn't be up in those chairs. And it's not about getting yelled at, it's about voicing their concerns and how can you both work together to help these problems in our city. We are one, and we should help each other. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lorraine Reese, and I am a resident of Selma, over 30 years, and a homeowner. And I came earlier today during the day, and I actually dropped off a little memo for each and every one of you, including the city manager. I didn't give one to the chief police, but I have extra copies. What I'm asking is a support
We have this.
from you guys here of Selma, that I get a letter. I have the backing and the support of the Orange Cove mayor and also from Parlier mayor, which you guys here in Selma, City of Selma, you have over 360 providers that are caring for a disabled person that have not received a pay raise over 9 years. And I have the proof right here. This is dated 2010 when I was taking care of my disabled brother. Back then, there was the cuts. A lot of you guys I do not personally know, not even the chief of police, but I've been very active in the city of Selma many years, and you guys have supported me, whether I did the Mentoring Children of Prisoners program, whether it's in this for Selma Unified or the city or the community when we do outreaches. So I am very familiar with all the rural communities of Fresno County, but this letter right here says that they were paying only $10.25 in 2010. Okay, we have not received a payment or a raise, and the only reason it went up to $12 right now is because of a state minimum. The Fresno County Board of Supervisors offered a 10 cents raise, which is very disrespectful and a joke. You guys here in Selma, the city board member has 360 providers working, taking care of multiple disabled people here, whether it's 24 hours, whether it's 20 hours, don't matter the number of hours they take care of them. Mr. Buddy Mendez personally told us, and I directed this to him a couple of weeks ago, he personally stated that he's not going to pay anyone to sit down and watch TV. Okay, if we're taking care of someone disabled, I had to quit my job at the prison. I worked in Kalinga, and I drove from Selma to Kalinga from 2000 and to current to 18. I was making over $75,000. I didn't choose to stay home and watch TV and take care of my disabled brother or my son that became disabled or my stepfather that became disabled. I didn't choose that. It happened. And I know that anybody on that chair right now, either you guys may, God willing, never become disabled or need someone to take care of you or know someone that takes care of you. Yes,
Which group do you represent again? What,
I'm currently a provider.
or you're part of which
I
group?
I'm not part of anybody.
You're
I'm,
not part
I'm,
of a collective bargaining unit?
no. I'm a,
Are you a
just
union
the,
member?
well, provider and the union, the SEIU 2015. And tomorrow is my last day, actually it's the last day to address this with the Fresno County Board of Supervisors. And I am having the mayor from Parlier, 9 o'clock. I know this is all last minute. I've been going through every rural community and getting support from a lot of people. And like I was just in Parlier on Friday, Thursday actually, and I was addressing the mayor and the council people there. They all agreed that they would sign a letter. They were going to type up a letter, and the mayor said she was personally going to walk with me and go to the Board of Supervisors meeting, and also the mayor from Orange Cove, which is Victor Lopez. I was trying to get Gilbert Padilla, that's been around when he started the union. He unfortunately got a stroke recently, so I'm pretty well known throughout Fresno County. I just stay behind the scenes, but I'm asking for your support, each and every one of you guys, that either make an email, a phone call, anything that you guys could help with, because you guys here in the city of Selma have 360 providers that are getting paid $12, and a lot of them didn't choose to stay home.
Well, I could tell you I'll personally call Buddy Mendez tomorrow and Supervisor Mendez and ask what his version is and get his
They
story.
got $12,000 raise, each one of them, and they offered us 10 cents after 9 years.
Thank you for coming to council tonight. Really appreciate
And I'm
your
asking
input.
for your support.
No,
Thank you.
Can I add, one
Yes.
thing, one thing. I admire your people that come to the house, people that instead of being in the rest home, they're home with their families and comforts of life, providing that service.
Correct.
And I admire those people, okay? Because in life, when you get old, no one wants to be in a rest home. They want to be home. And it's a quality of life. And I admire those people that do that, to come to the house and help the extra help, the services they do, because they're skilled. They know what to do. A lot of times, the siblings are not skilled and not trained in that area, and you guys are. So I admire you guys for what you do, okay? And I understand your concerns on this issue. And knowing Scott like I know him, he will call Buddy tomorrow, trust me.
I'll call him.
And
Yeah,
I
no.
really appreciate each and every one of you. And
Yeah.
like I said, I am certified in a whole different ballgame. I worked at the men's prison as a state counselor, and to let that
We're a
go
little
into
constrained
community.
because
Yeah,
you're
I
not
know.
on the
Well,
agenda,
thank you,
so
and I
we
really
can't
thank you
talk
for
a
your
lot
time.
about it,
Thank
but
you.
Thank you for coming
And
and
I
addressing
have a
this.
copy of this for the chief of police. I didn't get a chance to go over there.
And that's
okay.
Lieutenant Myron Dick. Yes. Thank you. Does anyone else have any statements they would like to make tonight during oral communications? And I think any of us could call Supervisor Mendez to ask him what's going on. Okay, Dan?
My name's Dan Reese, and do I have to give my address?
Do you?
No. Okay, anyway, Scott, the last time I was here, I asked about code enforcement, just to find out if you were gonna hire another code enforcement officer. Have you guys,
It's in the budget.
it's in the budget?
Yeah, we passed it
Okay.
with another code enforcement. I believe the city's working on hiring another one at this point.
Okay. The reason I'm kind of pushing that is also because I have two houses that I had reported with dilapidated fences, pretty bad along Wright Street, you know, and I know when you do code enforcement, you try to enhance the neighborhood and bring it up to par so everybody's property values can go up. But I started with these two cases with the code enforcement officer about maybe 4 months ago, and I haven't had no results. I think fire went out and rode up one of the occupants because they had grass that was real high in their front yard. There was two neighbors. I think fire department got a letter out and they responded to the front yard. However, the one address on, do you want me to give the address?
Is it a record, is it a matter of public record? You already turned it in, right?
Yes, I
Okay, go
emailed
ahead.
that in. Well, anyway, one of the addresses still has the high grass, but it's in the backyard, and it's a fire hazard.
Which one?
It's on Alton,
Okay.
2259 Alton. I understand the gentleman has some health issues, but this has been going on for quite a period of time, and I think it's either time to address the situation and see what he's going to do with that property. You know, I mean, if he's that bad off in a house situation, he could have some choices of what to do. The other one is just the fence issue. And the reason I'm here again today is because there's various places throughout all the city. And with one code enforcement officer, his hands are kind of tied. But also, there's just a great need to take care of that, you know. And go ahead. Do you have any questions?
I'm agreeing with you.
Okay. And since that was brought up, my question is, what department does he follow under? Is there any stats that we can check up on and find out, you know, what the start and finish of a
Good que-
project
I
is?
had a family member ask the same thing, and it's building and planning, and I believe we're
Falls on the planning.
community development, and the city is
Falls
also
on
working on getting a community development director at this
Okay.
point to be kind of a planner and a community development director, moving in that direction because it's so vital, so
Okay.
integral to the city, you know, looking good, developing business, and
Right.
bringing that tax base up.
Helps the businesses.
Helps businesses. Anything to add, city manager?
And just to add, we also do have tracking of cases opened, and we are now tracking cases closed. So that's something that you'll see in future reports, like the annual report, the budget.
So we have a council member that asked for a spreadsheet on projects that are ongoing, housing and commercial projects. It'd be nice to add code enforcement to that spreadsheet as well in terms of, you know, so we can see how the city is moving forward with that. Is that what you're proposing to do? Add it to,
It's
the
certainly
reports
one
that
of the
council
things that
and
we're looking at tracking for
citizens
our
get.
annual reporting, but we can include it in maybe in some other reports as well.
I
We
think
won't
it's
be
really
able to
important.
disclose
names and addresses. but
exactly. There's some confidential information in those cases, but we can tell you what's open and closed, the majority of the types of violations.
Not an agenda item, but, you know, it'd be a good practice in the future to hear about that, in
Okay.
my opinion.
All right. Finishing off, and the only reason I'm saying that is because if it's a specialty, if his background is building, you know, he should be really focused in the building area as far as that's concerned. There's other areas, weed abatement, and what else? Fire department, you might help me? weed abatement, and also probably vehicles. That would be with PD. With priority, I would probably consider buildings because you have people living in them, fires, abandoned buildings, and also the being the buildings being under construction that need repair.
How long did you work in code enforcement in Selma, Dan?
I've worked, well, I really wasn't in code enforcement, primarily building, but I've worked in Fresno for a couple of years over there, specifically in code enforcement. And they have a bigger group. At that time, they had 45 personnel, and strictly for that. And they broke them up either into 3 sections. One was building, the other one was abatement, for trash and debris, and also vehicles. And so they had quite a bit bigger crew to work with. And also that generates, when they have the building portion, it generates revenue for the city. It gets them on the page where they can get their project started and not just continue to go in circles and not know where to start. That's it.
I think, I reiterate with what you're saying. I've noticed that on the freeway, when you get on on-ramp and off-ramp, you see all the bushes for Caltrans. And myself, personally, I've been asking, what do we have to do to get Caltrans back over to clean our, Kingsburg got it, Fowler got it, we haven't gotten it. So I think internally, it's more of us finding out what our internal structure plan is between the city manager and the department head. Because if the department head is not doing their job, or do we have to make policies, stronger policies that would make people adhere to follow the policy? That's what I would like to know. I would not like, I'm not really interested in the actual reports that you're sending us, more of what's the structured plan that you have in place in order to make sure that we have the policy in place to make sure that we don't have these weed abatement problems we have right now. Because if we don't have a policy that has teeth, it's not gonna let the person that goes out there and gives them the ticket, they're not gonna be able to do the job. So I think we as a council, as legislative body, we should ask our manager to give us, what do we have in place right now as policies that make these jobs? Because I know that I drive through, right now on Orange Street, I'm driving, I see a canal, and it's full of weeds. And I think that, isn't it CDC?
CID.
CID we should have a policy in our city saying that CID has the ability or the structured plan to make sure they clean those canals. Those are their canals, just like the railroad track. The railroad tracks the railroad company has those trees. Those trees fall, the city staff goes and cleans them. If it wasn't for these guys, it wouldn't look nice. So I think more likely, I think in general, I think we should be asking what our structured plan is and what policies do we have so our people can go and make sure those policies are followed. I think that would be a stronger.
You're right on that, John. I just came from Kingsburg on a code enforcement meeting, and one of the things that they were stating is each department works together. They're all on the same page. You try to do that here, but you have small staff. But at the same time, by doing that, everybody kind of comes together, and what part from each department plays is an important thing. And the last thing is follow through with the procedure. Adopt the standards so that it be effective, and then they can be consistent with that and make sure it follows all the way through so it can be enforced.
Dan, stay in touch. Thank you for
Okay,
coming to
thank you.
council meetings.
All right.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Good, really good stuff. Anybody else have anything for oral communications tonight? This is great oral communications. Okay, no special presentations, so we'll move on to the consent calendar. All items listed on their consent calendar are considered routine. The complete consent calendar can be ratified by one motion, one roll call vote. For purposes of discussion, any council member may have an item taken off of the consent calendar and placed back on the regular agenda. The council will then vote on the remainder of the consent calendar. Does anyone have anything they would like to take off of
Yeah,
consent
Scott,
calendar?
I do. I have item A on consent calendar on the
Okay.
check register.
Okay.
Anybody else?
That's the only thing on
That's
the
the only
That's
thing.
it.
That's it.
Chosen, right? On one item, that's it.
Can't
No,
vote
there
to
is-
accept the
yeah,
rest.
Actually, Isaac, I was a little bit confused when I was reading this a little bit here. Page 3, gentlemen, and check number 73186 and 73187 and 73188. That was that easement on Dockery.
That's correct.
And I noticed that we have three people's names on
Well,
that.
it's 3 equal payments to the actual owners of the property, so it's
That's how it's split,
the-
that's how you broke it down. or
Mr. Nelson,
each one of 'em-
Dwight, and his brothers as well.
Oh,
so.
okay, that's,
So
you
each
know,
one of them got an equal share.
oh, okay, I just wanted to, I thought, what happened here? Is it, usually it's one property owner, I said, okay, there's three of them, okay.
Yeah.
And we broke it that way, be fair, right, across the board,
Correct.
all three
They're all
parties?
mentioned in the agreement itself.
Okay,
So.
that's all I need to know. Okay. I make a motion to approve.
Well, I'll have,
Oh,
I have
you have
one
another
other
one?
item, yeah. On page 173,092, quarter of the way down the page, Cool Air Specialty Pioneer Village AC unit. Do we have buildings out there that have AC units? Pioneer Village?
The front main building has the AC, 2 of them actually.
The front main building?
Yeah.
What do we use those buildings for?
Right now, being temporarily rented for the next 4 to 5 months, and then the Pioneer Village Commission is going to open them up again for organizations and meetings.
Who's renting them right now? Who's renting those buildings right now?
Right now, the Antigua, I forgot how they say the last word for the church.
Oh, so churches are
Yeah,
renting them right now?
Yeah, and
for
they have youth
Sunday
programs
services?
and service.
Okay. So before the city didn't have an AC unit, and to accommodate those renters, the
No,
city put
there's
two
always been
AC
ACs
units
there.
in?
There's always been ACs. They just broke down.
Oh, okay, so it's
Yeah.
a remodel of the existing AC
Yeah.
unit to
Yeah.
accommodate the renters. Okay, the church. Okay. Anybody
I have a
else?
question. Check number 73100 with Gerard Carsey. This, in our planning department, he does the plan checks? He does all the plan checks?
Some do stay in-house. Some of the smaller projects will stay in-house and get, for example, like the solar projects and things of that nature. So not everything will completely go out, but some of the bigger projects will go out for plan check for that individual.
So, okay, and then on the check number 73110, Collins and Schuler Planning,
Mhm.
they do plan checks also?
They were doing our planning services. As you can see, these are from the old dates. We had some descriptions or some issues with the original invoice, so we challenged some of it. So we're now getting paid from that standpoint. So it was when they were doing planning services back, and I believe it was April and May.
So we can have potentially 3 to 4 people doing the planning checks in our department?
Well, the planners don't do plan checking. Only the building inspector can do the plan checks themselves.
So what are they doing? How many consultants do we have at any given time, if I should ask, in a month?
So in planning, it's QK is our in-house planner consultant, and then Rincon is our another on-call planning consultant. And right now, they're helping us with our housing element. And then in building, doing plan checks, we have Rod Carsey,
Correct.
the person who does ADA,
Well,
Rabina, and Gateway.
correct.
Any others I'm missing?
No, that sounds about right.
So 3 in building/engineering.
Okay.
It's no problem to rent out to churches. There's no separation of church and city, as long as the city doesn't pick favorites with churches. Is that the distinction, or what's the key there?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, in order to rent out to a religious organization, we do, as you said, have to treat them the same as any other tenant. So the rules and regulations are even across the board.
So they would have to abide by the same rules and regulations as any other tenant?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else?
Boy, that's what happened. You answered number 1, right?
On one.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Avalos?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Franco?
Aye.
Councilmember Trujillo?
Aye.
Mayor Robertson?
Aye. With that, we will move on to the public hearing. Consideration of a resolution approving the engineer's report for the levy and collection of the annual assessment for services rendered in the landscaping and lighting maintenance district number 1 in the city of Selma.
Mayor, council members, the item you have in front of you is your LMDs, or our annual filing for the engineer's report. Again, within this district the city has for landscaping and lighting, there are total 10 different zones. The amounts that are being charged and assessed to these properties will not change from the prior. The only one that is changing is Vineyard Estates, and that's because the amounts actually dropped because there's more parcels to assess the value. So the overall total will be filed for the 1920 year is $242,588.96. Is there any questions?
This is a public hearing, so we will open up the public hearing to members of the public. Does anybody have anything they would like to say tonight on this topic of the approval of the LLMD?
Mr. Mayor, before you close the public hearing, it would be prudent to ask the city clerk if she's received any protests for this matter.
Have you received any protests?
I have not.
Okay. With that, seeing no public input, we will close the public hearing and refer the matter back to council. Does anyone have any questions or issues tonight on council about this item? Okay. I can say I remember this very well from last year. The cost just kept going up every couple of years. And it's a small amount, but the percentage was high. And I just want to say I really appreciate the previous Public Works Director was retiring and our new Public Works Director was coming in. I want to say I appreciate you looking at that along with our Finance Director and looking at those costs, because it just seemed like the water was an issue. You know, that there weren't smart meters, there weren't sensors on the sprinklers, and it was just they were going off at all times, and it seemed to be costing residents a lot more money than it needed to. What kind of improvements went into your getting these great numbers this year?
Definitely our water saving clocks, which I'm still working with Steve Johnson, Cal Water on.
Okay. So you're working with Cal Water on the water saving.
I think he provided them to us.
I'm working with Shane right now on a program to
You must.
Sorry. Yeah, Shane and I have been working on a program to.
Steve Johnson.
Sorry. Steve Johnson, California Water Service, 2042 2nd Street.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
So that's okay. I'm actually working with Shane and his.
My head irrigator, Fernando Moran.
Correct, on a program of being able to update and upgrade all of the clocks within the city on the in the medians and the parks, any city-owned facility. So that's a program that we're working with Shane on for conservation.
It really works, doesn't it? You know, it conserves water.
It does. And
saves
these will be
residents money. And
these
it's
will be
just- it's a
smart
good
timers,
message to send
and
to people.
basically, if they'll water if they see the need, but if it's raining, they won't start the sprinklers and that kind of thing. So they're very smart.
And there's just like the name.
That's what they are.
But I
smart
think what got
timers.
people's attention was that percentage, the 28 and 30% increases. Again, the dollar amounts are small per resident, but the percentages were pretty high. Thanks for stopping that.
Another thing we've done for our LMDs as well as all our landscaping is we've changed our sprinkler heads that we're using. And the sprinkler heads we're using now, some of them, instead, if a lawnmower is to break the top off a sprinkler head or a person kick the head off a sprinkler, instead of the sprinkler just spewing out water and constantly running down the gutter pan into the drain, these things they'll shut themselves off and allow the system to still water like it should without dumping all that water into the street. So I'm sure that's making a difference also. They're a little more expensive, but they pay for themselves in the long run.
Definitely. And are you using that in all of the landscaping?
We're trying to
districts?
integrate it into everything we have, our LMDs, our landscaping, our parks, the whole 9 yards. So it's kind of a slow process, but
I'm sure a lot of them break. You know, cars run over them.
Constantly.
Things happen.
Will you
I
guys
will say
estimate?
Whoops, sorry. I will say one more thing too, though. Anytime any kind of leaks are found, I work with Shane, and Shane's like right on top of it. So if there's something within the city facilities, I talked to him last week about something, and then he told me about a leak that I had, and so it's a very collaborative effort.
Yes, it is.
Mine's always bigger than his, unfortunately, but that's just the way
Thank
it
God.
is.
But just out of curiosity, guys, how you're saying you're working on doing this throughout the city? Can you estimate just how percentage you've done so far, or how much more needs to be done? Are you like a third of the way, 10%?
Right now, we're working on getting the clocks. Shane already had a percentage of smart timers within the system, and we're trying to bring the rest of the city's timers back into up to par and upgrade.
So Shane, but are we like 40% of them have been done, or what do you? I know it's just an estimate.
Just an estimate. I'd say right now we're probably right around say 25% maybe.
Alright.
And we've done a complete inventory on everything we have, and we've sat down with Cal Water numerous times with their person from down south that's in charge of this program. So we will be making the change very soon.
It's going to be sometime this fall, probably October.
Definitely.
Or so, and everything will be changed out.
That's what was nice, is that, you know, that attitude of, hey, how can we get there? How can we save folks money, you know, live in these districts? And you found a way. Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Steve, I'd like to say one thing. Thank you for being part of our city and working together with our city. Shane
Glad
and
to
the
be
group.
here.
No, I thank you. You know.
Thank you. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thanks for coming up. Anybody else have any questions? Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Call the roll, please.
Thank you.
Councilmember Avalos?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Franco?
Aye.
Councilmember Trujillo?
Aye.
Mayor Robertson?
Aye. Nothing on the regular business agenda tonight, so we will move on to departmental reports. City Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I just wanted to follow up on a question that came up at the last meeting, and that was about the percentage of signatures needed for a citizen-driven ballot initiative. And that is, the question was it 10% of registered voters or 10% of the population? And just let you know, it's 10% of the registered voters.
How many registered voters are there in Selma?
Was it about 5?
Just under 10.
6?
10,000.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, is that it? City Attorney?
Nothing to report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Finance Director?
A couple items. Right now, we started to have engineering working on the engineer work for the street on Nebraska to get that repaired. We're estimating about take 2 months for that engineering to be done, so we can start moving forward with that project. And then we can put it out to bid after that standpoint. Also, Measure S has now scheduled a meeting for the 29th of this month here at City Hall at 5:30, if you're interested in coming. Also, Measure P is currently being scheduled as well. Caltrans is going to come out and do a presentation. They've agreed to come out to do a feasibility about the Mountain View feasibility study we did. So they'll give you a quick overview of what that study came out and performed. So that's it. That's all I have.
Is that the next meeting, Isaac? The Caltrans? Or-
It's tentatively scheduled for next meeting.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Public Works?
A couple quick things for Public Works. First of all, as I told you guys last meeting, the Ringo Park restrooms are done, and Raina's probably going to be scheduling with you guys to have a little dedication for that park, for that restroom. We've done quite a bit of work there, so it's pretty important to me and my guys that we do that. Secondly, we started to try to address the wood chip issue on the old highway. We're chipping away at it. I've been in collaboration with Waste Management to get roll-offs delivered out to us, and I don't know if anybody's noticed. I'm sure the CM has, but on Mondays we're setting up a zone out there, and we're trying to address the problem.
It's been noticed. Citizen noticed. In fact, the one who brought it up to me noticed it today.
Excellent. Like I said, it's going to be a slow process. As of this point, we've hauled away 210 yards of chips, and we haven't really put a dent in it. So just
years and
FYI, we're working on it, and we will continue to work on it, and eventually they will be gone. And that's about all I have.
Glad you don't have a chip on your shoulder. at all. Thank you.
Not at all. Thank you, guys.
Keep going. Fire Chief?
I just also have a couple things. First, I did want to update council on our station remodel project that we put a halt to quite a few months ago. Unfortunately, we have received a couple of invoices over the last few weeks. This is for work that was done early on in the project related to the bonding. One has been paid. The other one, which is significantly more, we're looking into. It's for the legal services that were associated with putting the paperwork together for the bond work that was done early on. But we are looking into that because it's a pretty significant bill.
How much are we talking?
About $60,000. So we're trying to determine what the work was done and if it
Was that a budgeted item this year, or is that just coming out of the?
it was not minor. It will come out of Measure S. So
It will come out of Measure S.
Yes.
Okay. And that was budgeted for Measure S.
Yeah, originally the whole
Right.
original remodel.
The whole project
whole-
was.
The whole amount was. but
Yeah,
the-
everything that was associated with that project was, I believe, for measurement.
But
Are
then we
we-
shift to a new fire station, then a remodel.
Are we waiting? Are we just setting that project aside until we find out that location, or what are we doing with that project?
That we're, I'm actually looking into 3 locations and have it narrowed it down to 3 different spots, based upon, our response needs and then the ability to actually acquire the property.
Can any of these costs that we incurred for the remodel be allocated towards the new building?
I'm not
Are they all
sure
spent?
about that. I do know that some of the costs that were associated with RRM design and the work that they had done when we talked about halting the project that we were working on, they offered up some services to come out and help us out when we were ready to go that they were going to carry over from that work. So.
Thank you. Keep us posted.
And then on a more positive note, we do have our new engine in service and our brush truck in service, which we put that in service the end of this past week, and it's already proved its worth over the weekend at a fire that we had on the Sheridan and Valley View area. There's a field and a basin back in there, and we've had troubles there in the past. It's always been a debate on how we're going to get an engine back in there. The brush truck, they put it in 4-wheel drive, and 2 guys went back in there with it and had the fire put out while the other 2 engines stayed in service. So it's already
That's
proved
great.
to be quite useful. So,
You had another fire too, didn't you? Have a pretty big house fire as well?
we did, unfortunately, yes, we did have a house fire Friday morning. Friday morning. Right down from the
Is that
hospital.
going to be a total loss or?
Unfortunately, there's a good chance that it will be. The damage, most of the fire damage was contained to one room, but with something like that, a lot of times there's smoke and water that does affect much of the rest of the house. So,
All right.
that's all.
Thanks for that.
Thank you.
All right. Lieutenant Dick.
Main thing I wanted to bring up to speed on, we had somebody come in about the Roosevelt School. The biggest issue we saw was on the first day of school, both morning and evening at pickup. We have been monitoring that. That has reduced down. It's not taking as much time, but we have been in contact with the engineer, city engineer, and we'll be meeting, planning to get together with him on Wednesday, and we'll figure out if we need to do further with the school to figure out a way to speed up or enhance how the traffic is flowing there. The people I talked to, I had a couple phone calls, the people I talked to just wanted us to be aware of it and agreed to let it see how it went after the first week. So now into the second week, like I said, we're monitoring it, and if we need to take other action, we will.
Please, City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Also, to add to that, I did speak with Dr. Fisher at the end of last week, and she felt that, that was the first week, and they also are making some adjustments as far as drop-off times. On the first day, everybody drops off, picks up the same time, and then subsequent to that, they start sequencing those. There's things that all parties are trying to do to make sure this new system gets adopted. It's just a process of getting people used to a new system.
How much of the problems are due to just change, to it just being a new way of
I
picking
would
up
say
kids?
most of it, because I don't think the parents were used to that location, and going from the front of the school to the back, some of the adjustments have been made by parents where most everybody got picked up in the back the first day or two. Some have gone back to the front, and they're simply utilizing the streets around the front of the school for their pickup of their children. So it's
Back to
kind
the
of
old system,
well,
reverting back to the old
some of
way.
it has gone back to the old system. So it's kind of spread the amount of people out over front and back.
I understand the kindergarten gets out a little earlier. If that was able to be picked up ahead of time, that might free up a little more traffic, or if that was a separate pickup. I've been contacted about this several times, and that was one of the solutions offered, but I'm sure that, people are getting more and more used to it. I'm not hearing as many complaints this week as I did, not even close this week as last week. So hopefully people will get used to that new system, and, there won't be any problems, and it'll be more efficient. and safer because they're not as close to the street anymore. Okay, thank you. Is that it?
That's it.
All right, thank you. Parks and Community Services.
Mayor Robertson, members of the City Council, I just wanted to do a short presentation. The Housing Related Parks Program, HRPP for short, was a grant the city received in 2016. It was for $225,000 and 260, and so all our funds have been expended in the grant outline, and program final closeout report was due in August 31st, and it's been mailed. So I just wanted to go through everything that was done. Schaefer Park, just to follow up, Schaefer Park and Salazar Park were the only two parks that the grant qualified for. It's based on lower income and housing. When the project was finished just across the street from Salazar Center, based on the formula of the state, this put us in the area where we could receive the funds. For the years past, we never qualified for this grant, but we took advantage of it. Schaefer Park, through the basketball court resurfacing, wanted to thank Gateway Engineering and Joey Daggett. We combined that with the Floral project to save money, so it was a combination of the Floral and then doing the basketball resurfacing. We have basketball court lighting conversion to LED, much more brighter, much more cost efficient. Thanks to Shane Farrow, and Public Works obviously helped in a lot of these, but Shane put 2 picnic benches and then some sitting benches at the basketball courts. We redone the parking lot and playground light conversion to LED. One of our biggest complaints at Schaefer was the lighting in the parking lot when games in late at night and you're trying to get to your car. It was pretty dark. We have dugout shade covers now, especially really good for the t-ball and the girls softball for the kids. So they have some shade now when they're sitting in the dugouts. Replaced the concession stand door, which was almost 30 years old, and so it was just pretty easy to kick in. So we have a double bolted deadlocks on that now. We replaced playground equipment, new slide, additional ground cover for safety, and we redid the infields and outfields for maintenance and improvements to make them safer. Just good pictures here. You can see the after a lot cleaner. You can see not quite see the lights, but you can see the benches and the picnic benches, which is used daily. That's the old picture from above. I had to send pictures to the state for a final. You can see all the ceiling and the cracks in the old courts. It was rough. People were tripping, so kind of a safety factor. Playground equipment, a new slide there. We still have the shade cover, and then also the ground cover is probably one of the most important things you need on the playground equipment, just to prevent when kids fall. And then the dugout, you can see the shade covers really make a big difference, especially this when you get to 105, 104 degrees. It's hot. Now next one. Salazar Park, we replaced also basketball court resurfacing, basketball court light conversion to LED. At Salazar, we were able just to convert the poles, the Schaefer poles, one that actually had fallen before the grant from the wind. So we replaced all 4 because they were just rusting on the bottom. At Salazar, our poles were still very good, so all we did is convert them to LED. The Salazar Center has a new HVAC unit for air conditioning, which was nice. New park drinking fountain, both indoor and outdoor. Mark left. They really like the indoor. It has a conversion. It has the top one also for your thermoses and tells you how much water is being used. So we enclosed the Salazar Center fence enclosure, which you improved as one of our projects. So you can see the after. The before, again, there you can see the cracks and how faded it was. The lines are being taken away. The fence enclosures really helped for safety for the kids and people coming into the center. And then you can see there's the outdoor drinking fountain, which is right there by the spray park. So obviously, thank HRPP. It was a great project. We're in contact. We're on a little waiting list. I keep my name on. So if there's another round coming, we're definitely going to apply.
Those restrooms you were talking about at Schaefer, getting restrooms, we're splitting it out for picnic goers and then the teams. Any funding for that in the future?
Yes, actually, we're talking on Wednesday, but the per capita through Proposition 68 is guaranteed funds, and right now it's a minimum of 200,000. We received 240,000 in for the Prop 84. So I'm going to the Recreation Commission Wednesday with that #1 priority, and with the recommendation to come to the City Council. That's how we would expend that money. That's been our #1 project for about 6 years. It's the #1 project for commission based on our yearly annual project review we do.
Seems like bathrooms have always been an issue, and at Schaefer,
Yeah.
really an issue, given that usage.
Yeah,
that
we would
usage.
continue to keep the existing ones open. The new ones would be used for the kids and the games only tournaments.
And then, as funds become available as well for the parks, are we moving towards more of a holistic approach to special needs?
Yeah, the new park,
parks
the
and
special
also-
needs for the playroom equipment was probably scored 3 in our community input meetings.
Okay.
So when we sent the big grant for over $7
Will
million.
that include when we do remodel as well on existing
Yes,
parks?
everything would be ADA.
Be retrofitted ADA, maybe
Yes.
even beyond that?
Yeah, well, we're actually required to by law anyway, so.
Good.
Yeah.
So every kid should have a chance to play.
Yeah.
Great. And then we'll know about the Prop 68 money, and is it
Yeah, I don't want to say
January
too
or
much.
February?
The state can be very slow. I was
So
told early,
January's just,
generally February, when I put
no
them in your weekly reader, I put spring because I'm being cautiously optimistic. But it's supposed to be early 2020 is when we'd be notified.
And how much is on the line for, how much did the city request on that one?
We were just about over $7.6 million.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
So I think city manager and Shane and Gateway and Isaac put a lot of time into this. But yeah, we got the grant sent off on time.
Great. We had the grant writer working on that too.
Yeah, Townsend Affairs helped us, yes.
Good. Right.
And in Walmart, that's my second too. I just wanted to recognize Walmart Community Fund and the manager, Karen Foster. So I get this correctly. We received today a notice, $5,000, which $1,500 will go to the fire department for the Nomex hoods, which is a fire protective gear that the firemen use and for firewomen also during a fire. PD for the police explorers, material supplies and recruitment for the youth will receive $2,000. And then the senior center, we're going to be purchasing a larger pool table and use it for the meals of $1,500. So we received $5,000 from Walmart. So I will bring them before because to give recognition directly to her. But I got the email today, so I just want to let city council know
Hopefully
that.
Karen can come out and be recognized.
Yeah, and
Very
thank Walmart.
generous. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, with that we'll move on to council reports. Councilman Trujillo.
Attended the Selma Bringing Back Neighborhoods, which will be holding an event the 24th. That's really important. It brings everybody together. Attended the Exceptional Youth, Sports Youth for Kids with Needs. That started this Sunday. Last year I started attending it. I gave up my football to go there, and it's a beautiful event. It actually has, we had 50 kids there that all need a person to hold them and work with them, and they bowl. The group that's doing this, it's 4 ladies that are doing this, and this group is growing. And we meet on Sunday at 3 o'clock till 5, and these kids, the majority of them are from Selma, and they're exceptional kids with autism, and it's a really beautiful club. I'm working with them, and so we had a really good event yesterday, and I attended a couple of meetings with some other businesses. That's it.
Thank you. Councilman.
Okay. You know, I met when we had SCAF meeting, and they had recognized 2 kids from the programs from the SKF group, one from Kingsburg, one from Selma.
Nice.
And they asked the kids, after learning their experience in the industry of the how would I say it, the material of life, return, and they're very impressed because they learn things in life they never thought, you know, that in our society that they don't see it. And they had the good eye woken. He says, you know, and they got, you know, we learned something about, the sewer industry that we never thought. And they took back to their schools and they told in front of their own students what they've learned. And it was a good learning experience in life. And also I attended the first day of Roosevelt. Yes, I was there in that group. It was. I have video. I have pictures. But I'm going to clarify it real quick. When the city council we had no input on that design, the engineering design. And if we did, we probably would have made it better because when I became the mayor, I addressed that issue with the school a little bit. In the future, they'll have to fix this thing because new housing development and with the work of the engineering department, the City of Selma, and the school, they were given several plans to decide. Well, I don't know how many plans were given. I'm not sure how many plans. Multiple options. Of course, we had no input on those multiple options, but the school decided what they wanted, not us, the school. The parents out there, there were misinformation by the some teachers saying that, hey, is a city council, and I said, nope, we have no input on those decision-making process. It was the school's decision to make that design of the drop-off. If it was up to me, I would have left it alone, not tear into the cement, use that front edge for a drop-off, and a kindergarten kids can run, you know, it's because kindergarten get off at a different time.
Get off a little
They're
early.
differently. The first day, they had the kindergartners. The parents were waiting for the kindergartner and the other kid. So they were double parked, and the cars were backed up, like Rose said, all the way to McCall. I was there. I seen it. And we had one of our officers on our unit come in there, and he was stuck in there for a while. I was there. And you couldn't, it was just a mess either way, north and south. But like I said, people after that, people get a little smart, a little savvy how to drop their kids off, and that's what's taking place right now.
They're adjusting.
So offset the traffic, you know. But I just want to make it clear to the public out there that the city council did not make that decision. It was the school that made that decision on the design. So, for the record,
The city provide the funding, though.
actually the school
Provide the funding, or did the say, was it a grant?
the school.
The
did.
school's actually funding that
The school-
project,
the
the
school
roundabout
from the
portion
project.
of
We
the
didn't
bound.
have to.
There was a component
City
for the
provided
Floral
the
Avenue, which was an ATP project. So there was some funding, grant money that was available for that portion.
That had been a portion of the city that the city used for a school project.
Correct,
Okay.
but the remaining balance was actually billed back to the school district.
So,
Thank you.
just to make it clear, Scott, for the
Thanks for that
record.
clarification.
No problem, man. I was there. It's a mess, but don't worry. I just want to make sure the public understands that, hey, the council did not make that decision, final decision as far as that design. The school did, you know. And as far as the other issue too, as far as the lunches for these kids on the first day, I again, I think the city council is part of the school. We're not. I told that individual that you have to contact the school on these lunch programs, and these poor kids did not get a lunch. They didn't have their money on their card or any cash in hand. They didn't eat, and unfortunately, a lot of kids didn't eat. And it's kind of odd. Through the whole summer, you have this sign out there, free breakfast for the kids. You know, it's funded by the state and everything. And all of a sudden, the first day, these poor kids are deprived. This is the first time it's ever happened. When my kids were going to school and everything, there's some kids that didn't have lunch money, but that's okay. They ate. Later on, we'll send you a bill. They'll make it work. You know, they'll fix it. But I guess this time they didn't make it work. You know, that's my my voice today.
Good to hear from the superintendent. We can talk to
Okay.
her.
And the other part three, the city of Selma is doing very well, thanks to the people that work for the city of Selma and the people that come out and speak their minds in our public. I admire them because, hey, they're the voice of the public. We got to hear them. To understand what's going on in our community, they got to tell us, and I admire that. And but overall, city of Selma is doing very well, moving forward, very positive. There's some, you know, I like to see things move faster. I'm from the farm. I'm a farm kid. You know, I like to move things fast, but it's okay. I gotta have patience. That's fine. But all I gotta say is very well, doing very well. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. kind of strange that we talked about in oral comments about code enforcement and code enforcement policies, because that's one of the comments that I wanted to bring up during oral communications. You know, it's been roughly about a year ago when I first approached staff about looking at our code enforcement policies to see if they could have more strength, more teeth, as everybody says, because it seems to be contradicting. And staff did look into it. They did report back, and they said that our policies, in some places, did contradict each other. They were not uniform, and they were a different thing, and there would be a process and a cost to fix that. And then I believe the last thing I heard was, oh, we'll get back with the cost or options of how to proceed. And then that's the last I remember hearing about it, and yet we're here a year later, and we're still at square one. So it seems we have a problem in the culture in this city of having some meaningful talk, but not followed up by meaningful action. So, City Manager, can you just give me a date, do some research of what can we do to fix our policies? What is the process, the options? What is the cost? I know you need to talk to our attorney, because I know it's a lot of research and stuff, but I know like our zoning hasn't been updated since the 60s. So I know that's a very expensive process, but we need to start, if we have to do it in sections. I say, let's start with code enforcement. The whole community cares about that. We all in agreement. Let's fix it. And if it's going to take us 6 months to fix it, then let's start so we can do it. So I just need a date. I know you can't give me a date, but if you could do your research, I'd appreciate it. The other thing, along with the city manager and the mayor, I met with Mr. Tatelian, and just to share his idea about his development he's trying to do here in Selma. I also attended the five cities meeting, which is really 8 sittings with city manager Gallivan. I guess they're working on a marketing strategy for the 5 cities to highlight each city. Looking for a new name. I suggested Selma and the other 7. They did not like it, but they're working on a new name.
It's okay, man.
Yeah, but also on a really important issue. Our infrastructure in this town is not a secret that it needs addressing. Our infrastructure is basically, in my opinion, in disarray, and I know we all care about it, and I know we all want to work with it. I met earlier this month with the city manager, the assistant city manager. I think Council Avalos actually joined me. And I just said, what can we do to put council on the same page so that we could come up with a workable plan to fix the needs that will fix our infrastructure, that will address the needs of our existing residents, and also allow this community to grow? What's a realistic, workable plan? If it's a 4-year plan, 3-year plan, 10-year plan, what can we do? And I think first step we had after discussion was that we all have to get on the same page and know where we're at. So city manager, as we spoke, I requesting that perhaps you set up a workshop with SKF so council can talk freely and say, hey, what is the shape of our infrastructure, so that we could talk to interested parties in the following workshop to move it forward and figure out what do we need to do to stop this. Everybody's saying, I need this, and you fix this and someone will grow. You fix that and someone will grow. We all know that, but yet again, talk with not followed by action. So if you could schedule, check with council and schedule a workshop sometime, I guess, after mid-September would be great. Because I think once we get on the same page, and if we have a workshop, we don't violate the Brown Act, all 5 of us can be there, and we can talk openly and freely. Because we all want to fix Selma's problems. But it's hard to talk about it, and then I can't talk about the mayor, or I can't talk, we got to do it right. We got to do it in the public and in the open session.
I think before you even start having arrange a meeting with SKF, I'm not gonna, since you're bringing this up, this is great, I'm happy, but let's be realistic. before we have a meeting with SKF, let's make sure our staff is capable to have a discussion with SKF that has the proper vetting of what's wrong with our city. If we have a council right now that wants to better our community, and we have a staff that can't have an open discussion with SKF with all the real needs and what the parameters are, let's not have it. Because I believe that SKF for the last 10 years has been raping us. We got 5 increases and all they did was develop an increase and help their plant. So what I would like, and I'm sorry I'm interrupting, but I would like for our staff to do their due diligence in regards to our city and to give us a proposal prior to going and meeting with SKF, so we know what we're talking about and we're going in there together, united with a front that's gonna make sure that we're giving and we're implementing our 5 to 10 year plan and telling SKF, what are you gonna do for us? Because it should not be that SKF tells us what we're gonna do for them. They should be doing for us.
Yeah, I think too
And
many.
I apologize that I'm interrupting, but
Yeah, that's
it's really important.
No, I think that's true because you hit on something. I think we need to advocate what some needs are. You know, it seems like we somehow fallen into the trap over the years of other entities advocating, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do. When I say, wait, these are our needs. We're gonna work together, we'll address your needs, but our needs are gonna get addressed as well. And I think we need to have that mindset, but first we need to be informed of where we're actually at. We just can't assume what the problem is, we have to know what the problem is.
Well,
And that's all I have for now.
No, can I add to it, Franco?
Mr.
Excuse me.
Mayor, this item is not on the agenda. We've already had 2 council
Oh, no, I
members
was gonna-
speak to
I
the
was gonna
issue.
say. Yeah,
Okay.
I was gonna say, he just made good points, that's all.
Okay.
No, and we're,
I
the
think it
workshop
really is
good.
important, and I
It's important we
remember
have
we
a
had a
good
meeting
workshop.
with Congressman TJ Cox earlier this year, and the one thing he asked for was a capital improvement plan. And there, you know, we're all hitting on the same things, going around it. You know, another component is funding for that infrastructure and for that improvement of our city. And it's so important to have the right people to implement those plans. You can make plans all day long, but if they're not implemented, they're worthless. So I really think it's important to have the right back room, and I know I've had many talks with the city manager about this, you know, and it's getting the right people in the city to work the plan. The planner, it's so important. They're the first person that developers and that contractors talk to, and it's so important. And I know you're working on that and making moves on that, but we do need timelines. We do need to make actual tangible progress towards that to
Well,
push
you're
our
right,
city
Scott.
forward.
You're right, because
Team
look
team
what
effort.
happened to McCall.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that just went, it just
you know,
kept kick.
one of those
30
situ-
years later, we had the same problem because everybody talked about it and had great plans for it, but we didn't implement. We need action. You know, that's the important thing. And the spreadsheet, we need to see that too, you know, in terms of what the construction projects are doing, nothing that would be illegal, but enough to see, you know, where our city is going and how it's progressing so that we can offer our input, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to advise and offer our input on that while you implement the solutions. So back to comments. I attended the National Night Out event at Cueva del Oso, attended the Selma Unified School District kickout with Councilman Avalos, Councilperson Guerra. I want to say thanks to Moses Stites at the Fresno County Rural Transit Agency. Was walking back from the bank a couple days ago and past the transit stop.
Did you rob
And there was a bus there, and there were 2 people there, and one was on the actual bus, disabled person in a wheelchair. There was someone else in a wheelchair trying to get on, and you can't have 2 people. Our buses here won't accommodate 2 people in a wheelchair.
I know, it's only one.
So, and it was hot, and they were out there, and so I walked up and just, you know, said, hey, what's going on here? And they explained the situation, got on the phone with Moses. He had a replacement bus there 2 minutes later. The first answer I got was, well, you know, the person just got off break, you know, who's driving the other bus. Well, that's not good enough sometimes. When, you know, our citizens, they need a ride, and our disabled citizens, they need a little extra help. It's nice to know that there are people looking out for, you know, all members of our society. I remember, you know, a year and a half ago, we had somebody was saying, you know, they went to a football game or something, and they, you know, who do you think you are, the mayor? And you know, it's just like everybody should be the mayor. Everybody should be treated like the mayor in our town. Everybody is the mayor. Everybody's important. Everybody counts. And you know, that showed me we all work together. with this, for this gentleman to get his bus, to get his ride, his medical appointment where he needed to go, and I appreciated that. And we all are as important. We are all the mayor. You know, we are all very, very important, and no one's more important than anybody else. I met with Cliff Titellian, with the Mayor Pro Tem, to discuss his development plans for Selma. Wanted to say thank you to Assistant City Manager Moreno and Public Works Director Shane Farrell for listening to a citizen who had an issue on Dinuba in front of the bowling alley, safety issue there. Thanks to the county for jumping on it. I mean, he didn't get everything he needed, everything he wanted, but he got some of it. And our Public Works Department and our Assistant City Manager, I mean, they jumped on it in 3 days. They did some painting, made that intersection there in front of the bowling alley a little bit safer. There were some cars that had been parked there for a while. And, you know, that's what I like. You know, they treat everybody like the mayor. It wasn't me. It was, you know, a citizen going there and asking, and they dropped everything to help the citizens. And, you know, we do that in our city, and it's really our saving grace. We just need to have a little better structure about doing it and keep moving forward with that to provide that on a more macro scale. Also want to say thank you to Shane for getting that loader for those pine chips. The person who brought that problem up to me in the first place actually went out of his way to notice that today and said thank you to Public Works for getting on that. I've been hearing about the food issue for a couple weeks at the school. I reached out to my school district representative, Roger Orozco, and asked him what they were doing about it there. And he got back to me and said that I need to contact the nutrition department there. So I'll definitely be, you know, giving a call to the nutrition department to find out more about that. And it'd be nice to have some coordination there as well, like Councilman Avalos is saying, with the school district. We also, as a result, volunteer at the animal shelter, volunteered there, and the city granted $1,500 to the shelter this year for spay and neuter. Put that on Facebook, a spay and neuter program for City of Selma. Got a call today from the shelter, said, you better come out here. That thing you put on Facebook, it hit. And I went out there, and it looked like a Chamber of Commerce mixer. In front of the big play yard there, if anybody's driven by it, was all full of people who were applying to have their animals fixed, spayed and neutered. That's gonna help so much. We also have some homeless folks that are gonna have their animals fixed, and we'll get them to the vet. And I appreciate the city working with the shelter on that, because that will pay dividends. That will lower the number of stray animals out there. And with that, I will.
Well, you know, I have one more comment. You know, tonight I'm not done tonight. No, I was gonna on this issue, and you guys brought it up. You know, on his code enforcer. You know, I like to see a little more. It's about, you know, on the policies, providing more direction, teeth in our policies. But like, I like to see it in our bicycle policy on the bicycles. You know, back in the days, you used to get a license for your bike, and by doing that, we'd be able to track people who ever stole the bike, whatever. You know, it controls certain elements in our community, and also creates other elements that are bad in our community. You know, I'm just leading up to that. And the other issue too, I know we have a homeless issue, and that's a challenge in itself. I thank people that are on the beautification community, like Leslie out there trying to keep the community clean. I admire that. You know, it's like, it's all about trying to keep our communities clean and safe. That's the key. But I think we have to develop stronger policies, like you guys brought it up, that will to address these issues, Teresa, and maybe have a workshop. Say, hey, you know, we're gonna have council gives policy. We're policymaker guys. We can do this. You know, am I correct down there, attorney?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I just
Mr.
wanted,
Mayor.
you know.
3 minutes are up, Jim.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just have maybe a workshop on its code enforcement operation here. What policy we wish to change and look at and make more teeth. You know.
Certainly. Mr. Mayor, if I might just, as a follow-up to the code enforcement comments and the timing, we have one code enforcement officer at the time, so with the second one coming on, I think there would be more time to do policies, but we can bring it back sooner, absolutely. I hear you loud and clear. We need to have our code enforcement officer start getting involved in updating the policies while we have the, now, and not wait for that second person. So we can have a presentation, have them come back, give a presentation. I think one of the other things I heard about was shopping carts.
Yeah,
But maybe
shopping
we
carts,
can
that was the other
give
issue
you
too.
several areas that we think we need and start, going through that priority. And when we have the second one on staff, that will be very helpful as well. But no need to wait for that. That's fine. We can move ahead. The other item I just wanted to share with you on as far as policies, during the budget process, we did discuss and bring forward some of the things we intend to do in this year ahead and that they were funded. And then one thing that was mentioned was the zoning ordinance update. That's a very large, comprehensive process would be the best way to do it. We're going to apply for grant funding, some of the SB2 grant funding for that, in hopes that we could do that in a comprehensive way. But in the meantime, it is something that we discuss at the department head level so that we can give you quarterly reports that we intend to start doing on your priority areas, and that being one of them. So we would be giving you an update on that soon, but we'll bring back code enforcement sooner.
That'd be great to have updates on that.
Since you brought up, Teresa, on the shopping carts, that's right. I forgot to bring that up. I mean, we have a lot of shopping carts at the yard. Am I correct, Shane? And I think, it actually belongs to the shopping center people that bought it. I think we should try to find a way to mitigate some of those issues and costs to turn them back, because they're not the victims of, in other words, they pay the shopping carts for the courtesy of the customer to shop in their centers, and unfortunately, some people take them home. I won't mention what group takes them home or to different areas, and unfortunately, our city workers have to pick them up and take them to the yard. And I think we're kind of punishing the wrong people that that owns these cards. And I think we should develop a policy, because picking up shopping carts or the shopping owners to create I talked to them already. They're fine with it. If they put a sign up says you can no longer take the shopping carts off the shopping centers, anything after that is considered being a theft.
Well, there's a drugstore where it just automatically locks too. Can't
Yeah,
take 'em
well,
out.
the other day they were locked. Watch this in Fresno, Scott. This is no lie. They had locks on a basket, and this guy was picking the basket up
All picking it up. So
and
it didn't lock.
and dragging it. I'm telling you, I guess it doesn't work.
Did you have something to add on that?
Yes, one more thing, Mr. Mayor, members of council, I did want to also share with you that there are 5 items going to the Planning Commission next week. So I did want to share with you that there are projects that are getting through the pipeline and getting to Planning Commission so that they can be approved. So while I know this machine has taken some time to get running again, there is progress of projects getting to Planning Commission for their approvals.
I appreciate that. In the planning department, if there are things that are having trouble getting done, get more people, so we can get these projects going and get them moving. Because QK is probably the biggest in the world. They probably, the planner is fully competent. It's just a matter of how much can she have on her plate, and if she has too much, then we need to get somebody else to step in and help out and get these projects.
Can I just say
rolling.
that,
Absolutely.
being that these businesses come in and you're talking about planning department, I'm really concerned about the planning department. Just understand that these businesses that come here and they spend money, not only are they spending the money that's costing every time they do something that's costing them every day money, it's our reputation. It's the City of Selma's reputation. And if we're anti-growth because we're not standing it, that concerns me. So I want to make sure that aside of everything else, the planning department is very important. It's very important. So we need to make sure that we do something. Please.
Thanks.
Absolutely. If we need to have more folks from QK work on things, we can do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And work on that community development position too. Really important.
Mr. Mayor, just only want to announce that Caltrans finally made it to Selma. They were on Floral Avenue today, cleaning up.
Council.
One last comment to the community that Caltrans finally made it to Selma. They were cleaning up Floral Avenue. Hopefully we see them tomorrow on 2nd. I don't know, but
So they do a rotation, right? They come around, and then they cleaned up the Rose Garden a couple weeks ago, and then they come back. They have a team, right? And they come
Like
around and they
CID?
clean other cities. And, it's just a matter of the squeaking wheel getting the grease, but also us being in the rotation, getting back to our city.
Jim, you're done. Jim. Make a motion to adjourn.
Oral communications. Okay, one last time for anybody from the public to step up.
Rose Gallardo Robertson, 1057 Mill Street. I'd like to thank City Manager Teresa Galavan for getting back to me on the mayor at large question. I have been able to forward it to some citizens that were asking about that. Appreciate that. And Myron Dick getting back to that traffic problem, because that was really huge as well. And we don't need anybody getting hit as they did during the summer and during the school year. Couple of kids, and we know there are some problems there. I also want to announce that you never know what some of these family members are going through financially, and you hear it all the time. And it was just very appropriate that we had Deacon here giving the invocation. It was a beautiful beautiful prayer. And the St. Joseph Catholic Church is giving out food boxes this Thursday, the 22nd. It's through the Harvesters, and my husband Scott and I were helping out last month with the St. Joseph Catholic Church, giving out some of these boxes. And some of this food is really, really nice and pretty tasty. I mean, I was about ready to get in that line and get myself a box, but and I may be in that situation, and we can be. You never know when any of us may be in those situations. So we were happy to help. But again, if you guys know anybody who may need some food for their households, just hearing about some of these kids not eating at the school, but it will be again at St. Joseph Church on Rose Street this Thursday, the 22nd. And it would be at 9:30 a.m. And all you have to have is proof that you are a citizen of Selma, and no questions asked. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bob Allen, 1821 Tucker, Executive Director of the Selma Chamber. Just a few announcements for those of you who want to come out and support some of the activities. On this Wednesday, the 21st, Adventist Health will be hosting our monthly mixer. They will also be announcing their new Selma administrators. So if you want to come out and meet the new person, this will be the first time that they will be introduced to the public. On August 23rd, we have our last concerts in the park. We will have farmers market starting at 5 and some food in the dining hall, because this is a chamber fundraiser this week, so we are selling barbecued, deep pit barbecue. So join us for that. It's either take out or eat in with us. And our band for the night will be Prestige. So come out and enjoy the evening. We did cancel last Friday because of heat. We are not going to cancel this week. We're intact. We've asked for chamber weather, so we'll see. And then just because Leslie is here, I'd like to announce that at our meeting on Friday for the Beautification Committee, we have set October 19th as our community cleanup event. It will be a Saturday morning starting at 8:30, and we will go to 12. We will serve breakfast, but we have at least 4 organizations already who have signed up to participate. So if any of you want to come out, we would appreciate you coming out to support the event. So a week before the band festival, we want to spruce up the town. And then I want to personally thank Shane. Last night, Mary and I were coming home from Fresno, and we got to McCall and Floral Avenue. And I looked down this street of McCall, and every street light from Floral through town was lit. It was gorgeous. I thought, gee, this should be a picture for, any home decorating magazine, because it was gorgeous. So thank you for getting that done. It's looking wonderful.
Nice. That's what pride's all about.
just want to say thank you to each and every one of you guys, because this is my first time meeting all of you guys, because I knew other board members before. And again, I would really appreciate that each and every one of you guys, even if you're in the council or out in the audience or anybody else, that I would encourage you, because tomorrow I will be at the Board of Supervisors again. And it was because of me
What
that
time's the meeting?
at 9 a.m. in the morning, between 9 and 12 or 9 and 11. Actually, we had about 20 people that wanted to talk on the 3 minute, and they only allowed 3 people to talk, and they didn't allow everybody else. So because we were SEIU members of 2015 and other union, but I would appreciate your guys' support. Again, it's really cost effective. We're saving the state a lot of money taking care of disabled people in home versus out in the nursing home, which is 30,000 each person. So we've been saving, and again, 9 years. I don't think anybody here that has had a job has an opportunity to quit. I'm not a quitter, and we don't make those choices to quit or not quit. We take care of our family members or any other recipients. I actually am taking on 4 as of today, and this is a 24-hour job.
Thanks for
Okay.
your work, Lorraine, and thanks for coming out.
Okay, and I really appreciate your support, Mayor. Okay,
you.
and everybody else here. Thank you.
And after you're done cleaning up on the 19th, you can dance the night away at the Tejano Festival at Pioneer Village, which will be very clean. Anybody else have any other comments tonight? With that, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
We're adjourned.